Fox Xiaojun by Zhou Dedong. Fox spirits do not exist, but men's longing for them never dies, and so men end up getting slapped in the face. That night, Huang Chao received a text message with only one line: "I'm waiting for you at the bar. Thank God it's Friday. Dare to come? Miss Fox." He thought it was a friend's joke. But when he looked at the number, it was unfamiliar. His heart began to beat fast. He did not know a single woman with that surname. Still, it felt fresh and exciting. In the dead of night, going to meet a Miss Fox meant danger, sexiness, and a kind of romantic mystery. All of that was exactly what most appealed to male nature. 100 men may openly despise fox spirits, that is for women to see. In truth, all 100 of them are urgently calling for a fox spirit to glide out of the dark and appear before them. Since 100 men all like this kind of woman. That proves something true about male taste, a natural sexual inclination. But because men put on masks, they give women the wrong impression. Women think that men and women alike dislike fox spirits, that fox spirits are women hated by all, and so they fashion themselves in the opposite direction, heading exactly the wrong way. Fox spirits seem to have nothing to do all day but hide in dim places, using nearly all their intelligence to figure out how to make a man fall in love with them. Men being valued to that degree only makes them more excited. And now, almost all women are standing beside men in broad daylight doing great things together. Most of their intelligence is being used to compete with men. That is social progress, so although men are frustrated, they have nothing much to say. On the road, the word fox kept leaping through Huang Chao's mind. He remembered that 3 days earlier, he had exchanged a stack of business cards with someone, and among them there had seemed to be a person surnamed Hu. That day, Huang Chao had somehow wound up at a cocktail reception. It was held by the television station. He did not know a single person there. For reasons he could not explain, he had received an invitation anyway, so he went. There were many people at the reception, mostly company chairmen and general managers, while he was just a Sanshu fighter from a club and had nothing in common with any of them. He muddled through a round of business card exchanges with everyone. A reception is always like that. When it ends, the people you know remain known, and the people you do not know are still strangers. Now he could not remember a single face from the reception. Only one woman had left behind a faint image. They had only crossed paths once. She smiled at him first, and he smiled back, and then they passed each other. He still remembered her because she had struck him as somewhat familiar, though he could not remember where he had seen her before. Also, she was very beautiful. Her eyes were narrow. With even the slightest smile, they became a pair of alluring crescent moons. Her skin was so pale it was almost transparent, and her figure was straight and upright, like a ballerina's, with long, slender fingers. At receptions, the other women were all dressed thin, revealing, and sheer. Under kippaos or evening gowns, their white thighs were exposed, and their full breasts seemed ready to spill out. But this woman was the opposite. She wore a deep red long dress, a semi-sheer striped blouse with lotus leaf ruffles and mid-length sleeves, and a pair of deep red wedge heels. Her long hair flowed smooth and lovely, like the hair in the shampoo commercial. She showed almost nothing. On the contrary, from her clothes alone she even looked a little proper. All her fox-like allure was concentrated in her face, except for her lips. The rest of her face wore only the lightest makeup. Her lips, however, were painted a heavy red shading toward purple, like a bunch of ripe grapes in autumn, full and ready to drip, with exquisitely defined edges. She knew exactly what to keep and what to leave out, highlighting the most tempting part. She looked at you with a rich, knowing gaze and smiled in a way full of meaning. Her delicate lips curled up just a little. Whether by design or not, she seemed to be teasing you all the while. Faintly, almost imperceptibly. It was a gaze that could make a man's spirit tremble, a smile that could turn his bones to jelly. With a face like that, who still needed bare arms and legs? Women without charm are the ones who have to sell themselves with their bodies. And for a woman like that, one face is enough. She only needs to show her eyes and smile lightly, and she can make a man bleed. At that thought, Huang Chao shivered. Not showing body or face, only those two eyes. Why, that was a fox spirit all over, fur from head to toe. He reached the bar. It was her. She was sitting quietly in the dim seating area, smiling at him. Huang Chao's heart began pounding hard. God had spent too much effort on her face, and she had in turn spent too much effort on the way she dressed, so she had become dazzling. Of course, pretty women are easy to find, and pretty clothes are easy to find too. None of that mattered. What mattered was that she seemed to carry some special quality, something Huang Chao suspected had the force of a love spell, something that made men lose their minds. What exactly was it? Men could not say, they could only feel it. Women could not say either. In the first place, they could not even see it. Knowledge can be learned. Temperament can be cultivated. But this one thing can never be learned from another woman. It is not digital information, something that can be passed along. It is not a chemical substance, something that can be taken by mouth or injected. It is not a performance, something that can be taught. A woman who lacks it is like someone born with a terrible face, impossible to correct or make up for later. Huang Chao smiled at her and sat down. From her manner, he could tell she had not asked him out for any particular reason. And indeed, she had not. They chatted for a while, and Huang Chao asked, "Your surname is Hu?" "That's right. I didn't know that was a surname. You could look it up in a dictionary. It's such a rare surname. I've looked through some materials. Actually, there used to be quite a few people surnamed Hu, but because the name sounded unpleasant, they gradually changed it to the Hu in Huqin. Why didn't you change it? I like the character Hu, and I like hearing stories about foxes. Let me tell you one." Huang Chao again thought of that thing covered in fur, not showing a body, not showing a face, only two eyes. Sure, there was a man who kept receiving text messages at night from a woman surnamed Hu, inviting him to meet her at a bar. One day at last he went, and he met that Hu woman. She was very beautiful, and the man was instantly bewitched, unable to free himself. Every time she met him, she would tell him a fox story. She told him many stories. At last they were about to get married. That day, he and she walked into a church together. The woman fainted in terror because she discovered a secret. A tail was showing from behind the groom. Back home, Huang Chao hurriedly dug out that stack of business cards from the last reception and found the card of this Hu woman. Her card, like her, was simple and mysterious. Hu Xiaojun, freelance designer. No wonder she was a designer. Her card was distinctive and unusual, practically a work of art. After that, Hu Xiaojun invited Huang Chao out every Friday, and every time she signed her text messages with the same line. Miss Fox, Huang Chao had a girlfriend named Xiaoyu. On their second meeting, he hinted at this to Hu Xiaojun, but after hearing it, she only smiled and looked at him for a long time, smiling. A woman who is beautiful and who also knows that fox-like smile is sure to become an enchantress who can conquer every man. A fox spirit seducing men always has a furtive back alley feel. If she does it openly, then she would seem more like a fox immortal. She drove with him around the ring road at midnight, went with him to play nighttime shuffleboard, even went with him to the dance hall for some fast pulsing songs. Huang Chao kept hoping to sleep with her and spend one night utterly bewitched. But she only kissed him. Being utterly bewitched is one of a man's ideals. Women these days are less and less lovable, and only drugs like MDMA can still get men excited. But fox spirits can make men lose themselves and feel as though they were floating on air without harming the serotonin in their brains. They are the sprites among women. They make men and women love each other more. And they make this profit-driven world more sensual. He grew more and more infatuated with Hu Xiaojun. Every Friday he thanked God. Once he asked her, "What do you design?" She said, "I design everything, logos, corporate identity systems, magazine layouts. I also design my own love life." Huang Chao looked at her. "I saw you once before, in a match. Which one? How many times have you fought in all?" Huang Chao thought about it and said, "About 20 matches, maybe a little less. How many did you win?" "I only lost once. I was at that one against the Chiyoda Club in Tokyo, Japan. But you were very brave. You fought all the way to the end. I remember the way you fell, and I can never forget it." After a pause, she said, "A deputy station chief at the television station is a classmate of mine. I helped them plan that reception. In fact, it was an advertising sponsorship event. I slipped in a little of my own business and invited you. That was the first step in my plan, exchanging business cards with you." Huang Chao immediately understood why he had received that inexplicable invitation from the television station. She went on, "Among the people who like you, the one you love most is often not among them. And when you like someone, you often have no chance to get close to that person. So I took the initiative and seduced you. If you hadn't come that day, I had a second step and a third. But Xiaoyu," Hu Xiaojun leaned softly against Huang Chao, lifted her beautiful face up to his, and said in a faint voice, "Even if you married her, I would still seduce you. At night, if she lies on your other side, I will lie on this side like a fox spirit, tangling with you every night after midnight." Only then did Huang Chao realize that fox spirit women do not use all their intelligence just to attract men. Part of it is also used to compete with other women. On some Friday, I don't know which one, Huang Chao told Xiaoyu he wanted to break up. Xiaoyu's father was a department-level official. And she was as fair-skinned as Hu Xiaojun, and no less beautiful than Hu Xiaojun by any means. Why did he want to break up? Huang Chao himself could not explain it clearly, and no one else could understand it either. One day, Huang Chao left Xiaojun very late and went home. He did not expect Xiaojun to be waiting for him. She had a key. She had not called Huang Chao all evening, probably because she wanted to see exactly what time he would come back. He felt a little alarmed. Tonight, Xiaojun had led him into a dark house thick with fragrance. Although they had not made love, they had embraced like mad and kissed like mad. Huang Chao was worried Xiaojun would catch the scent of something. She asked coldly, "Where have you been?" I was drinking with a few friends." She examined him with complete distrust, then suddenly reached to his lapel and pinched out something. "What's this?" Huang Chao went blank. It had to be Xiaojun's hair. He looked at it, but it was not human hair. It was a yellow strand of fur, and he had no idea what animal it had come from. He shuddered. Xiaoyu gave a cold laugh. "Have you been bewitched by some fox spirit? Don't talk nonsense. You think I don't know? You go see her every Friday." Then the two of them started arguing, and the argument turned vicious. In the end, Huang Chao was the one who brought up breaking up. After I heard about this, I called Huang Chao and asked him why. He said, maybe it was because Xiaojun always appeared in the night, while Xiaoyu always appeared in the day. Later, I met Xiaojun once. She was a girl of extraordinary quickness and intelligence. I realized then that Huang Chao was by no means the only person who had been bewitched by her eyes at first sight. Huang Chao made a decent living, and he didn't want Xiaojun to keep working. He wanted to support her, but she refused. She often told Huang Chao that there were men who had their eyes on her. Some were tycoons with fortunes piled high, others were officials. She always handled them with great skill, like a snowy mountain fox, sometimes showing that peerless beauty of her pelt, sometimes vanishing in a flash without a trace. Then Huang Chao understood that her intelligence was not only for competing with women, it was also for matching strength with strong men. Once, Xiaojun suddenly said to Huang Chao, "Only one person in the whole world knows that my name is Xiaojun." Huang Chao froze. "The card I gave you at that reception was made especially for you. It was the only one of its kind." Then she took out her card case, handed it to Huang Chao, and smiled mysteriously. "These are the cards I give those disgusting men." Huang Chao took one and looked at it. It read, Xiaojun. She gently hugged Huang Chao and said, "I am your fox spirit alone." That day, Xiaojun led Huang Chao back to that dark house thick with fragrance and began to get close to him. Huang Chao advanced step by step. Xiaojun refused him step by step. Suddenly, Huang Chao grew angry and said in a low voice, "You're playing me." Xiaojun did not answer. Huang Chao softened his tone, gently stroking her hair. "We've known each other for more than 3 months now. What exactly is wrong with you?" Xiaojun still said nothing. Huang Chao could not see her face. He could only smell the heavy fragrance. "Tell me, all right?" he said, and as he spoke, he reached for her face again, but he did not touch her face. He touched only her hair. His hand went around once, and his scalp instantly tingled. He jerked his hand back. Her whole face was covered in fur. She said softly, "You must have guessed it long ago. I am a fox." Huang Chao could not speak. Yes, whenever he was with her, the image of a fox always flashed through his mind. After a silence, Huang Chao suddenly said, "Ever since I got together with you, I found that a woman's tail can actually be very lovely. I'm not afraid." She suddenly let out a strange laugh. "But I am not a she-fox." Opposing currents collided inside Huang Chao. He swayed once. She was not a sprite, she was a fox demon. Still laughing in that strange way, she said, "I told you my story long ago. Don't you remember? I walked into a church with a woman to hold a wedding, and that woman accidentally saw a tail showing from behind me and fainted dead away." Another Friday, after Huang Chao had taken a heavy blow, he received another text message. "That kind of seductive fox spirit is no longer to be found, not by you and not by any of us. Lonely Mr. Fox, the end."